Last year was supposed to be the year. I was logged in, I was ready to rebrand, I had my resolutions, and I failed spectacularly. It's the new year now, and your goals are about to fail. And they will. Unless you make one crucial decision. Last year, I had 3 major goals. Number 1, we wanted to move to a new country. We already lived abroad and we felt like it's time to go. Number 2, I kind of rediscovered my passion for programming. And because of watching way too many streams about coding and development, I kind of wanted to start developing my own game. And number 3 was YouTube. I wanted to make last year the definitive year when I have become a YouTuber. The problem with these goals is that way too much is out of your control. What if circumstances change? What if there's a shift in the world? Or what if the worst kind of events start happening in your life? I'm realizing this grey on grey looks kind of bleak, so is this any better? I don't know, but it's so cold. The first goal, the move. We have done literally everything for this move to be a success. But the economic situation was in this like crazy catch-22 phase. I was working as an English teacher at this language studio and the local branch would have accepted, but they needed a POA, which is in Europe, that's everything. If you don't have a proof of address, you have nothing. So we tried renting a flat, but it turns out the city we wanted to move to was so saturated that there are not enough flats, and they would never rent you a flat unless you have, you guessed it, a job. You couldn't get a job without the flat, but you can't get a flat without a job. We went through the worst anxiety. It was so bad. And it happened right at the start of the year. Now, the next one is probably the stupidest. For those of you that don't know, Pokemon is originally a video game on the Game Boy. These are the video games I have grown up playing. And I wanted to make something similar. But I don't know if you know anything about the current state of affairs with Nintendo. Having seen Nintendo being Nintendo and suing people for ridiculous things and setting up all these patents, it just call me stupid and say that I should have pursued it still and I should have went through with it and the internet would have come to my help. But it's also me that would have had to risk my skin. And I just couldn't go through with it. So that one failed as well. And then the third one, YouTube. I don't even want to blame this on anything else, but these 2 things were like the least of our worries. My wife needed to have surgery. There was an economic downturn in the region where we lived at. And soon enough, we started wondering if we're going to have enough money for the next meal. We needed to take a step back. And now we are here. We live with family now. Our financial situation is stabilizing, which is nice. But emotionally, no, we're not going to go there. We're not going to compare how many people that are younger than me have kids and houses and cars and what have you. We're not going to do that. But every single day, it takes mental effort and energy not doing that. And when you're trying to pursue something like YouTube, which demands creative energy, it's difficult. Needless to say, because of all these things, in the first half of the year, I have released maybe 1 video that I have now unlisted. See, this is the problem with these New Year's resolutions and goals. What if circumstances change? Fitness and getting lean or getting jagged or whatever is the number 1 most popular undertaking. And this is basically the reason why it fails. What if you're tired, if you slept bad, if you are meeting friends later, if the gym is closed, if you get sick, if something depressing happens, if something even more depressing happens? What then? You'll stop. Because it was just a resolution. Not an actual passion. Yeah, but we have been taught and conditioned that goal setting is this very important thing and that we have to make tangible goals that we can track and progress with and make progress trackers, which will definitely not make us feel bad. Am I challenging this very idea? Should you not set goals for yourself then? Yeah. I think I am. Goal setting does not work for everyone, does not work for every situation. If it did, most people would reach the resolution of their New Year's resolution. But if it's not about setting a goal, if by setting a goal, if by trying to rebrand ourselves, we're setting ourselves up for failure, then how can we succeed? I remember the first time when I finally had abs. That was the first goal in my life that I really succeeded with. Isn't that contradictory then? Shouldn't we set goals? I mean, yeah, sure enough, this was a goal in my mind. I wanted to look lean. I wanted to have a six-pack. But I really didn't succeed with this goal because I had it as a goal, if that makes any sense. The reason I succeeded is because at this point in my life, I just really loved doing sports. Sports was like the antidote to all this anxiety and tiredness that I was feeling working corporate. I would have probably kept continuing to go if abs were impossible for me. I remember at that time I was a regular at this bouldering gym that I really enjoyed. I was part of the community. I couldn't wait each day to go and climb, and not because of the abs. Bouldering and just weightlifting is just something that really helps you just get rid of mental stress. It really helps you keep your focus. It's very difficult to explain. All I can say is that having tasted the effect, I wanted more. Every other goal was secondary. So how can we take and apply all I've just talked about? What will I do in this next period of my life? Look at this amazing weather. 1st of January and we have a cozy layer of snow. When I look at this calendar and I see all the things that I failed, when I see the empty pages, it just fills me with so much, I don't even know what the right word is here. Depression, sadness, feeling like I'm worthless. None of those feelings are warranted because last year we have done a good couple of things. Sure enough, we could not reach our big goals. We could not lock in. We could not rebrand. But you don't need to rebrand. You are you, and you are perfectly fine as you. What do I mean by that? If you have 50 kilos of body fat, you are good as you are. If you have personality traits you want to get rid of, you are okay as you are. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is you don't need to become someone else. Social media is full of people who are trying to convince you that you should be someone else. You do not need to do that. You do not need to rebrand yourself in that regard. You do not need to lock in and not talk to your friends for 6 months and then come back a changed person. That's an anime storyline, which is cool in an anime, but this is, I don't know how to break this down to you. This is real life. It doesn't work like that. I have rediscovered my passion for making videos, making YouTube videos. But my goal is not going to be to become a YouTuber that makes a living out of YouTube. My goal is not even going to be making a video every single week or something arbitrary like that. My goal is simply going to be to enjoy the process, to find joy in making videos, to find joy in creating. It's one of those things like trying to squeeze water in your palm. The more you try to squeeze yourself to change, the less you are going to change, because your mind, your brain loves familiarity. It's going to pull you back. And just like you can't squeeze water, you can't really squeeze yourself. But if you just learn to love, if you focus on falling in love with the process, I think you are going to achieve the goal just as a byproduct. And this is how I'm hoping to succeed with another endeavor that I'm starting this year.
I think there's one scenario in which making a goal is actually a great idea. I've rediscovered my love for Pokemon TCG, well, mainly thanks to Coop and Deep Pocket Monster, and thanks to Pokemon TCG Pocket, which I have been grinding. I have almost master setted every single set, except for Deluxe EX. But anyway, for the majority of the year, I was watching Pokemon TCG from the side. One of the biggest regrets of my life is selling our childhood Pokemon card collection, which is never coming back. But I thought to myself, hey, I missed community. I missed going to card events. So maybe it's time to hop back into the hobby. And now, as a responsible adult, I can kind of sell the idea to my wife, saying, as stupid as it might sound, buying cardboard with Pokemon on it retains value. Actually, more than that, usually the value goes up. I've already done some stupid things like booking a table at a Pokemon card show as a vendor without really having any inventory, which now that I think about it is going to be a sick title for a YouTube video. This is where I want to show you something, or more specifically, someone. This man is Oyama Trading, probably my favorite Pokemon TCG YouTuber, apart from Deep Pocket Monster and Coop. I mean, you gotta love those two. He had a goal for last year, which is to 10x his Pokemon business. And in his case, it made sense. Do you know why? because he was already doing this for, I think, the majority of 2024, maybe the entire year. He's also in the same shoes as me, where he obviously cares about the value of his collection, but he's more in it for the love of the hobby. For him, it made sense to have this as a goal, to 10x his Pokemon business, how many shows he goes to, how much his collection is worth, making more videos. But in my case, none of this really makes sense, because I haven't even started my journey. And this is my point exactly. If you're just starting your journey in something, if you're building your business, or probably the best example, fitness, if you're just starting that, do not have a goal of becoming shredded by the summer. Your only goal should be to get to love the game, get involved with the hobby, meet new people, fall in love with the process. You can't squeeze water. You can't squeeze yourself. But I promise you, if you just focus on getting to love the process, you will succeed. And hey, if your goal is YouTube or becoming a YouTuber, then you might want to check out this video. I hope you found this video useful, or at the very least entertaining, and I'll see you in the next one.